Have you ever felt like you're not just starting at zero, but maybe even behind that? Today, we're going to dive into a really unique grassroots community in Indonesia that takes that exact feeling and turns it into their superpower. This is the story of English Zone Amuntai. And it all kind of starts with this quote right here. This just perfectly sums up the vibe of the whole thing. Informal, super charismatic, and honestly a little unconventional. This is not your typical stuffy language school. Not even close. So who is the guy behind this whole unique approach? Well, let's get to know Dude Irfan. Okay, so his real name is actually Ahmad Irfansa, but he goes by Dude Irfan, and there's a really interesting reason why. He felt his name sounded, in his words, too Eastern for an English learning community. So Dude Irfan, it's pure branding, a strategic choice to make the whole thing feel more accessible and in tune with the language itself. All right, so with a cool, crafted brands like Dude Irfan, you're probably thinking, this guy must have some serious credentials, right? Like an English literature degree or something? Well, does he? And the answer is nope, not at all. It's actually a huge surprise. He has no formal English background other than what he learned in school. This whole community wasn't built by a professor. It was built by someone who was just incredibly passionate. And that right there is the key to understanding everything about English Zone. And all that passion, that enthusiasm, it found its first home in a place that's probably pretty familiar to all of us. A simple WhatsApp group. You know, the journey of this community has been so real, so organic. It kicked off in August 2023, really just as a way to engage some students. It wasn't some grand plan. Then life happened and it went quiet for a few months. But come March 2024, it was back with this new energy and a real purpose, which eventually led to plans for their very first in-person meeting. And what's just wild is that up until that planned get-together, the entire community was online. That's it. All the learning, all the chats, the growth, it all happened digitally, connecting people from all over. It just goes to show you can build a powerful community without any physical walls at all. So now, let's get to the heart of what makes this place so special and so welcoming. Let's talk about their core philosophy, the idea of starting from minus. We usually hear the phrase, start from zero, right? But their motto is, we start even from minus. That one little word change is so profound. It's like a huge, welcoming hug to anyone who feels like they're so far behind, they can't even see the starting line. So what does that actually mean? Well, this philosophy is all about tackling the biggest barrier to learning, which, let's be honest, is usually our own self-doubt. It's not about a lack of knowledge. Their number one goal is to build your confidence up and help you see the potential you already have. The person comes first, the English skills come second. And that belief leads to this incredibly personal way of learning. There's no rigid textbook here. Instead, everyone is encouraged to find their own way in, through stuff they already love, like music, movies, whatever works. The real goal isn't to master some specific technique, it's to actually fall in love with the process of learning itself. Okay, so the community's name, English Zone, is so much more than just a label. It's basically their mission statement, and it really paints a picture of their vision for the future.
So there are a couple of layers to it. The first one is a really clever acronym. From English Zone Amuntai, they get EASY. And that right there tells you what they're all about. Making English feel approachable, accessible, easy.
But the word zone, that's where it gets even deeper. It's inspired by that psychological idea of a flow state. You know, that feeling when you're so absorbed in something that you completely lose track of time? That's the zone. And that's the kind of immersive, focused, and genuinely enjoyable learning space they want to create. And this quote from Dude Irfan really just ties it all together perfectly. The ultimate vision isn't just about teaching a language. It's about personal development. English is just the decoration, the tool they use to help people unlock their own amazing, unique potential. The community, that's the real product. So when you step back and look at it, this whole amazing thing started with just one person's passion, a WhatsApp group, and this idea of radical inclusion. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What kind of supportive zone could you create in your own community?